Good afternoon, September 7th, 2019. Some macro profile of the market. We're going to start right out with the yearly bars. This is the longest time frame that I look at. Each one of these bars represents a year spaced out on a quarterly basis for time, so it's only showing the years. So obviously here's the yearly bar we're currently in, the 2019 bar. You can see we're at all-time highs, right? And the next timing signal would mean that next year's bar is a sell signal. So going into 2020. There's a 3140 level I've highlighted. There's 3301. If we look out bigger picture, this is the trajectory of the biggest time frame into say 2030. Okay. Don't get worried about that too much. That there's going to be big declines along the way, but for right now, that's the largest time frame. Again, this looks at all the secular bull markets and bear markets going back all the way to, well, I can go all the way back to into the 70s. So there's the roaring 2000 up into the 2000 high, then the 2000 tech bubble sell-off, and then the recovery, then the housing crash, and then the recovery from '09. So we're still in this thing, and right now the trajectory is higher for the yearly. So now the next one is the yearly and quarterly. So these are yearly bars, the thicker ones, and then I highlight the quarterlies in between just to give a little bit of texture to the macro chart. It's a little bit different of a configuration. Again, next quarter, next year, we're running into some timing here. And yeah, it is a little surgical. So, some of these things can be, you can take a monthly or a yearly chart, go down to the year, to the quarter, to the month, and then drop down to the week and the day, and even down to the minute. So it's showing that we're going to be coming in somewhere between 3100 and 3140. Up here we'll probably make a high and then we'll come back in and then we'll kind of do this and we'll work into this timing signal into 22 and we'll pull back off of that. But the macro trend structure is for a higher market into 26 on this chart. But again, that doesn't mean anything right now. Quarterly, these are just quarterly bars, breaks it down even further. Here we are, right here. Now, you can't make a bearish argument here on this chart or any of the charts that I've just shown you. So the question is, when is it going to top and turn? When is the top for this thing? Well, I think we're going to hit 3140 before we put in a top, probably be next quarter. And from there, we could pull back to 2700. Then back up to 3,300, and then back down to 3,000, so on and so forth. You get the deal. Again, the macro stuff is not necessarily that important, but within the construct of where we are, you can see. This is the monthly here. This kind of looks at the last 2 years and gives you a highlight of the monthly bars. And you can see what we've been kind of dealing with here. And here we are, right here. And this is indicated at 3100, 3140 into the October, November timeframe. The weekly, here's the weekly, here's that 2840 level that we needed to hold, which we did on a closing basis. Now we've broken out of this consolidation, and this shows 3147 into October, November. That's my forecast right now, 3140, October, November. Let's break it down even further. Here's the weekly. What's interesting about this chart is I'm going to make a comparison to the last corrective cycle, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we've got this little consolidation here, and then we went up 1.62 in price, and then we went over about 3x in time. And if we look, this is the same thing here, different pattern configuration, but the same pattern, if you will. So in other words, it looks a little different, but it's the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got the consolidation. If you look at the consolidation, it's a very tight, narrow consolidation, and then the move. tight, narrow consolidation, and then the move. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we go. And we got some timing signals here into November. Probably pull back, and then there's even more in December. So that is the current schematic and forecast for the market. I don't know, how it's going to get there. Maybe a China deal, maybe, uh, who knows? It really isn't about that right now. The market looks higher, and we're going to stick with that forecast for now. Everything looks good here on the macro charts.